Hey, peace, 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 family. It is by no surprise that for A.I April, we are having technical difficulties, but thank God, thank God, thank God, we are here, we are live. Go and share this with all your people, with all your friends. Let them know that A.I April is happening. The new wave is live and in effect right here, right now. So anybody watching, share this with your family, share this with your friends. Let it go out before all the world so they know that the spirit is still alive and we always stay in the flow. Anyway, family, peace, peace, peace. My name is Reverend Yanni Davis, the peace pastor, the peace poet, the peace prophet. Look, whatever you want to call me, I said it the other day. Just make sure you put some respect on my name. I am the founder of my super natural life with the A. I had to put a little hip hop flair and flavor on it. But my supernatural life is all about providing holistic communal care to folks living with chronic conditions of the body and the mind. It is all about making accessible holistic care and spiritual care for our folks that need it the most. So we're providing coaching, creativity, and community in a transformed way so that we can all be transformed by spirituality and how it's rolling out in 2021. Family, we've got so much going on. So much is coming up around the planet. Whether we're thinking about the pandemic taking the lives of so many people, whether we think about the need for Black lives to matter, when we think about Black and brown children being killed day after day, when we think about members of our Asian community being shot down for no reason, when we think about what's happening in India, when we think about Africa, when we think about all of these realities, truly, it is time for healing. It is time for change, and it is time for transformation. So we're glad you could be here with us today. So, family, it's A.I April. And I just wanted to explain to you what AI is, artificial intelligence, okay? So I pulled a definition. It refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines that are programmed to think like humans and mimic their actions. The term may also be applied to any machine that exhibits traits associated with the human mind, such as learning and problem solving. Well, when I think about AI, I think about the ways that we can heal with this technology. I think about all the ways that we can access God with this technology. And I remember being in seminary, and I was infatuated with classes like race, religion, and justice, compassion in action, your brain on God, and all of the womanist courses that I took. So we're about to get this thing started, family. What? I'ma say no more. And I want to bring up our first guest. My dear friend Lauren, coming in from ATL. If we could bring Lauren up and get this thing started right. Folks, drop in the chat where you're tuning in from, why you're tuning in today, what you want to hear about, what you think about my supernatural life. And yes, let's bring Lauren on up. Let's get it going. Hey,
Hey.
hey,
Okay, I
friend.
think I'm here. Hey,
How
what's
are
up?
you?
I'm good. You're so motivational. You're
Oh, I
really,
tried.
I'm moving right now, so like my energy's low, but that just really helped bring me up.
That's good. I mean, you made it. You made it. And guess what?
Here.
I love you a latte. Hey. I'm gonna talk about that a little later to the people. But okay, let the folks know who you are, what you're all about, and yeah, just let us know a bit about you, friend.
All right, so I am Senorita Awesome. Currently based in Atlanta, Georgia. Singer-songwriter, musician. I don't know. I like to spread love via
Yes.
song
Oh my
and just
goodness.
like kind of like energies and stuff like that. I mean, I've been doing music playing music since I was a kid and been, kind of singer songwriting and since like 2006 ish. So a
Yep.
while now. This is 2021.
Yep.
It's
For
crazy.
real. And I remember those days of of you getting started and like performing and actually like getting out there and on the scene, and your name, like how your name, like where did that even come from?
Like I was telling you, that conference that you went to, whatever
Okay.
it was, some kind of women's empowerment, who knows? You were always at a conference.
At some
Um,
conference. Yeah.
back in 2006,
Oh my goodness.
2007. So,
And that's how you got your
um,
name. I came back from the conference and I was like, hey, awesome. Hey,
yeah,
awesome.
it was just like, it was just very bizarre to us that people were just calling each other awesome. And now it's like, I mean, but if you are, you are. Like,
Yes, here we are. And so,
you know.
as you think about your music, is there anything in it that kind of speaks to your spirituality or speaks to your healing and your wholeness in the world?
Oh yeah, I mean, that's all, like, music saved my life, literally.
Yes.
Like, um, it's just always, it's just like a way to express and connect with folks. Like, I've terrible social anxiety, very bad at talking to people about normal things. But like, I've been able to use my music to kind of connect with people in that way, and just kind of like going from there. It's kind of like an introduction thing. And then, it's also just a way to just like, I like storytelling.
Yeah.
And, poetry was like my main jam,
Yep.
and, after I got, wrongfully evicted from an apartment, and literally all I had was my guitar
Mm.
and the clothes on my back. And it was just like, and I lost like all of my written poetry. And from like, I think that kind of like made a shift for me. It was just
Mm.
like, if the music is just, I mean, the words are there, but like the music is like it's
Mm.
like in there, it's irrefutable. Like you
Yes.
can't deny its presence. And it's like, so it's just, I just kind of really shifted gears then, because it was like,
Yeah.
you can't take the music, like it's there, like like
Mm.
the music can't go anywhere. If I gotta sing, if I gotta hum it, if I gotta tap my foot on the floor, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Look.
just, there's so many different elements, and like, like our bodies are instruments. Like everything is just, it's just in us, so I don't know, like I think that's kind of like how I connect, like spiritually, with my music, is just like connecting with others through, specifically through just like, you know finding the beauty in actually like acknowledging the pain and
Mm.
moving through it, because people just
Yep.
want to be like, here, I'm gonna put a band-aid on it. When it's done healing, the band-aid will come off. And it's like, nah, like
You're not
you
doing
gotta
that.
change the band-aid, you gotta wash it out, you gotta hit it with the Neosporin, you gotta fresh it, like it's a whole,
Whole
all of
thing.
that. And then,
Yep.
then you get to the end, it's like, wow, like, and
There
it's
it is.
just, yeah, like it's just, I just really enjoy, I feel very blessed that I have this gift. I didn't ask for this. Like, I
Mhm.
learned how to play guitar because one literally showed up at my house one day when I was in high school. I was like, well,
Wow.
I play guitar now, so it's
Yep.
just,
You
yeah.
said something interesting, sis. You said our bodies are instruments. Our bodies are instruments. That's even how we connected, right? We connected singing, right? We
Right.
connected making music, using our voices how we could, in the Glee Club as Spellman, and have been friends and connecting ever since with this music, using our bodies as instruments to empower and encourage and inspire the people. Like, how cool. I wanted to ask though, because I know for me, things have shifted so much in terms of music and art and the pandemic. What have things been like for you in terms of music and the pandemic, and maybe even things opening back up now?
I mean, it was terrible. I'm not gonna lie, like, because for me, like my favorite part about like all of the processes of music is literally like just being on stage, and like I feel like, like connecting with everybody's energy in that way. Like I
Oh,
hate being in the studio, and live streams are being in the studio, and it's just like, it's hard.
no.
It's really, really hard for me to kind of like connect with folks in that
Yeah.
way, and draw that same type of energy, and bring that same type of like, hypeness to like, and translating that, like sitting in a room by myself looking at my phone, like it's totally different. But I did, like, I always had a couple of people in the room. I was like, this is just too weird,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Especially at first. And then I feel like I kind of, finally found my groove by just like, I combated like being on Zoom. Like I literally would have like 3 different phones, 2 computers, so I could see everybody, like, I'm like, I want to see everybody. Like I
Yeah.
worked with a lot of camps last summer, and so I was just like, seeing their little faces and their little flame emojis in the chat.
Yeah.
It just became a different way to kind of exchange the energy, and I'm definitely excited. I've actually done 2 live performances in
Yeah.
the past couple of weeks back, like on a stage, and it was weird. I was like, no, this is not supposed to be weird. Like,
Yeah.
no, this is supposed to
Yeah.
be awesome. But I just think it's just like, it's been such a shift. And now I'm kind of like in this blended space, like here I am on a Facebook Live, as opposed to like, being live, like in person. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's been hard, but
Yeah. And
it's
so
been
my last question to you is, based off of the year that we had, when things got a little crunchy, got a little weird, got a little interesting, as we were trying to show up and share our good art with the world, what do you see the future of music going? Where do you see the future of music going?
well, I mean, and this is kind of something I feel like I saw like even before
Yeah,
COVID, but I
yeah,
really feel like the future of music is really just like blended with the visuals. Like there's
yeah.
because people have to, that's the only way that artists can really connect with their artists, and like, and have full control over, the presentation of it, is like in videos, and
Yes.
the TikTok generation or whatever call them. So I really
Whew.
think that it's I think uh, yeah, at least for me especially, like it's kind of opening up a different way of looking at the music, and like, okay, what is my music? Like I know how it makes people feel, but like what do those feelings look like? Like how can I create that feeling, like visually, or with merch, or even like in a tweet,
Yeah.
and it's just kind of like pulling in, like I feel like it's just made music a kind of a more immersive experience,
Yes. Whew.
especially for like fans and
Yeah.
audience. There was a lot of artists just doing like, hey, I'm sitting at the piano at the crib, like this is what it is, and getting that insight into like the process, and
Yeah.
seeing how that can kind of evolve and translate into like a traditional live show, or even like live streams. Like there's been some really cool live streams too.
Yep.
So I think it's just like about, because everybody's tired of looking at their phones, so it's just like, how can you make your music stand out outside of the music itself? I think
Mhm.
it's kind of
I love it. How
the
can you
direction.
make your music stand out outside of the music itself? You hit us with some good information about your life, your story, what's going on in the music world, and even the future. And so I thank you so much, Senorita Awesome, for being here with us today. And you're going to grace our presence throughout our broadcast today. I thank you for that. And so at this time, would you please share the first song? And I'm so grateful for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here with me to
Yeah.
inspire the masses.
Great, I'm grateful. I tried to pick songs that were kind of like centered around like healing and things like that.
Good.
So we'll see how these resonate with everyone.
We're ready. We're ready. Folks are chiming in. They loving what you had to say. So take it away, sis. Thank you, and I love you.
All right. This song I'm gonna do for y'all is called Dolphin Cloud. For weather storm, will you promise me sunshine? It's beginning to form beneath my dolphin silver lining. Need to believe in things not even found in dreams. I need to protect my wings before there's no song left to sing. No, it's the bed. Trees don't up and grow from nowhere. They don't just appear out of thin air. Suddenly shady here and there. I need to believe in things not even found in dreams. I need to protect my wings before there's no song left. Before there's no song left for me to sing. Heard it say, not homemade, I'm cookie cutter. They're just afraid those days in the cocoon will never flutter. I need to believe in things not even found in dreams. I need to protect my wings before there's no song left to sing. Need to believe in things not even found in dreams. Need to protect my wings before there's no song left. Before there's no song left for me to sing. Thank you. I think Yanni is coming back. I'm not sure. But I see some of these comments are popping up in the bottom. Thank y'all so much. If you're watching, we appreciate it. Yeah, and bear with us as we find Rev Yanni, get her back in the mix. I don't know what happened. Am I doing another song right now? I thought I was going to be the next interview, and then I do another song after that. All right, so I guess there's some tech issues going down. So the beauty of the live show is still not lost. Anything that can go wrong will. So, all right, so I'm gonna do another song while they get that figured out. Grab a pick here. So this next song I'm gonna do for y'all is called My Anthem, and it's really about just kind of owning who you are and embracing it, and living your life out loud on purpose. So I hope y'all enjoy it. I'm alive and I'm still breathing. My heart continues beating, in spite of all my downfalls. Each broken bone will make me stronger if I stop pretending. Everything will appear before me. My dreams I make real to me. Sometimes nightmares overtake me, and I just keep living what life is all about. And while you scream and shout and pray for mistakes I never made, you pray over steps I'll never take. Far too hard to love myself. Won't let your doubt take that away. So I'm living, yeah, still living, living to the fullest all the way. Living to the fullest all the way. Each day I hesitate to accept the truth. I know I stand out from it, always shows, it just confirm the thoughts that flow through rivers deep and pond shallow. I'm feeling free, letting go. Past the light, the future close. No time to stop. You think I know? I just keep living what life is all about. And while you scream and shout and pray for mistakes I never made, you pray over steps I'll never take. Far too hard to love myself. Don't let your doubt take that away. So I'm living, yeah, I'm living, living to the fullest all the way. Said I'm living, yeah, still living, living to the fullest all the way. I've opened up and I have seen. Took too much, I gave you everything, but now my happiness has got the best of me. No bleeding, I should have known to let you go. Hope you're listening. I'm alive and I'm still breathing. My heart continues beating. I just keep living what life is all about. And while you scream and shout, you pray for mistakes I never made. You pray over steps I'll never take. Far too hard to love myself. Already old, they'll take that away. So I'm living, yeah, I'm living, yeah, I'm living, yeah, I'm living, yeah, said I'm living, yeah, still living. Living to the fullest all the way. Living to the fullest all the way. Oh, wait, Yanni, you were just there. Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much.
Yes, oh my goodness, here we
Okay, there we
are.
go.
I'm back. Thank you so much, sis, for blessing.
We lost Yanni again. feel like the planets, maybe some of the planets, they're interfering with technology and communication right now. Thank you everyone for being here, bearing with these technical difficulties. I'm doing my best here. I am not a good host, but yeah, thank you everybody for being here. I know Yanni had mentioned the I Love You a Latte campaign. I know a little bit about it. I believe she's taking donations to give out, I think like 200 lattes or something. I don't remember the number, but just as a way, I think, to just like give back to the people. It's just like, just a little token of, love, because love comes in all forms. And for a lot of people, love comes in the form of a latte. So I'm a chai tea latte myself. So that would be my, if you want to, buy me a latte, I like chai tea. But yeah, so hold on, I'm checking in the chat. It looks like things are shutting down. If that's right. Yanni, you can just type in the chat what you want me to say. Oh no. All right, so the technical difficulties have apparently gotten to the point where the host of the event cannot get access into the show, which is kind of a bummer, but I'm glad that, we were able to at least share some of this time. I was really looking forward to hearing from and meeting the other folks. But I'm grateful that, I was at least able to share some of my gifts, some of my words. I guess they're wise. All right, one more song. So we'll do one more song for you. And to before we close this out, since I guess it's technology got the AI and the April got the best of us. So so this next song, this last song I'll do for y'all is called "Stop Polluting My Air." And this goes out to the technology. It's using pollution as a metaphor for getting the haters off your back. So here we go. You can breathe it, then it's there. The universe is ours to share. Keep the love pure and clean. Can do without the dirt. So please stop polluting my air. Stop polluting my air. If I was on stage right now, y'all be singing that with me. So sing along at home. Just because I'm invisible doesn't mean that I'm not here. Choking on dust and smoke, you left lingering in my ears. The trees are rotting all around me, and those scattered in some more seeds. Would you help me try to save these things? Stop polluting my air. We got Yanni back in the building. Stop polluting my air. Stop polluting my air. You are polluting my air. Stop polluting my air. You are polluting my air. Now fish are swimming free, but what happens when the duck dries up their streets? Damming rivers with littering, the disease all spreads with negativity. And we, with too much of our faith, been giving up hope.
April,
Kids
can
knowing
you take your
when
comment off
to
of this one,
cry and when to let
please?
go. If you can't breathe it, it must be there. This whole universe where it's ours to share. Remember to keep the love pure. I can do without the dirt. So please stop polluting my air. You are polluting my air. Stop polluting my air. You are polluting my air. Stop 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 polluting my air.
Hey, Senorita, awesome. Thank you for being so awesome. Look, you know, as artists, we got to hold it down sometimes. And so I'm just giving you all my gratitude, all my thanks, all my love for holding it down for A.I April. The people are loving it. They're saying it's so good. We're going to drop your Spotify in the chat, and where people can find you, let us know. Where can folks find you?
Got muted. So you can find me on all the social medias at Senorita Awesome, spelled all as one word with one A. And then you can download my music on Bandcamp, senoritaawesome.bandcamp.com, and I'll type it in the chat and you can get it in the chat.
Hey, thank you
Get
so
it
much
out.
for being here. I love you, and we'll see you
Love
next
you.
time.
Yes.
Whoop, whoop. All right, family. Here we go. Let's start it over again. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Sending people signal warnings. Groundhog's Day is every morning. Quarantine and lockdown, keeping me from my performance on the block. It starts to storm and impact so enormous. All the future generations, what it is. Global warming. Like, is it people? Is it profit? Is it benefiting us? Green from the earth or in the green that we trust? I'm a lust after the future because my presence is a present. Afro-futuristic gifting, and they wondering who sent it. You will woo woo. We are live with the new wave A.I April family, and I thank you so much for those of you that are here. I'm actually seeing that we're getting views on the YouTube and also on the Facebook pages as people are hanging on with us. All right, y'all, it makes me think about artificial intelligence and how we might be able to roll out some of this tech a little more efficiently in the future. But thank you so much, family, for real life experiencing some of these advancements and some of these technological mistakes and mix-ups and mishaps that happen sometimes. So we're going to keep it going. We're going to keep it moving. Head on over to my supernaturallife.org and donate a latte or 20 to the org so that we can build out our website, get our coaches on board, and also expand our educational programming. We love you a latte. Next up, I'm going to bring up my dear friend Maria of H & Co. Here we go, y'all. And I'm now working all the controls. How about that?
Hey.
Let's go. Maria, I love you, honey. Where are you? What's going on? Tell me the good news.
Well, hey, it is so good to be with you. And I love partnering with you, working with you, doing projects with you. But more than just being colleagues, we are friends and family. And I just love being with you. I love what you're about. I love what you're doing in the world. And I have all to do to just kind of keep up with what you're doing. Every time I turn around, you're launching something new. I love your energy so much. You know, and I was just kind of thinking here as I was saying, I was like, oh, Yanni is just like, probably like sweating and trying to make this work over there. And my heart was just going out to you because, you know, everything we do now is virtual. And if this doesn't work, we're, you know, we're out of the platform. So I'm glad you got it up and running. This is so good. But
That's
yeah,
it.
I'm in the UK at the moment. It's almost 1 a.m.
Yes, I know. Thank you for showing up and showing out as you always do. I'm so grateful. So grateful. So let's get it started like this. Tell us a little bit about your mission and vision in life, and then also take us on a journey around what H&Co is. Yes.
Yeah. So I've been doing the work of innovation and reimagination and reconfiguration of Western Christianity for the last several years now. I work theologically speaking, mainly within radical theology, post-theism, post-God, post-Christian, post-church. And that is very different from atheist or agnostic, or these things don't exist, or it's all broken, or it's all over. It just means post is what is past traditional notions of all of this stuff, traditional notions of God and church and divine caregiver constructs, and essentially all of Western Christianity through pre-modern and modern times. And what does it look like now to really engage faith well in ways that are transformational, in ways where meaning making is happening and it actually matters for the lives that we're living here and now. And in terms of H&Co, it's an organization that I launched a little over a year ago with my best friend, who's the co-creator of all the work I do. The work we do is centered in the intersections of faith and culture and art and meaning making, and what it looks like to really embrace complexity, our humanity and faith in the 21st century, in the worlds in which we find ourselves living. So we do a lot of curriculum. We do culture classes almost every month. We have cohorts for churches and leaders, how to engage future church and future faith communities, which essentially is the present. And what does it all look like to hold all of our world together in tension, in complexity and uncertainty? So yeah, it's a wild ride. We have a podcast, Sacred Anarchy is a post-church podcast. I have a Patreon where I put out fresh content every week. I work with people one-on-one as well. So yeah, things are busy. It was good.
Oh, I love it. I mean, that's big work. What does it mean to hold the world together in the midst of the tension and the complexities? Like that's
Well, I
that's
don't know. We're all just trying our best, right? At the end of the day, we're all just trying to figure it out together. It's about admitting that there's complexity. That's like part of the issue. So many times Christians, especially religious right and more conservative fundamental types, are very certain about what they think about all of this stuff. And so just admitting that there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to engaging any kind of faith is a big step forward.
Absolutely. See, and so as I was looking through some of your work, because I do so often, I love engaging with it, and all of the elements of radicalization and liberation and future thinking, futuristic thinking. One post you talked about liberation, not liberalization, and basically moving our ethics from one place to another as we think about being free, both in our bodies, in society, and in the world. Tell me a little bit more about that. Liberation versus liberalization.
Yeah. I like the way you said it better than I say it, but I'll give it a go. So, liberalization is really just a matter of re-entrenching on a different side. The liberal left and the progressives love to sort of look at the religious right and the conservatives and say how fundamentalist they are about everything and how siloed and entrenched they are. But what we find is, the liberal side of Christianity is, just as entrenched and just as fundamental and militant about some of the things that they believe and think as well. The issue with both sides, so many sides, so many polarities on a spectrum are, is that they're just kind of playing for the other team, but the certainty piece is still in place. So, when we're talking about, when I say post-God and post-Christianity and post-theist, that all means like being post-divine caregiver constructs, post the big God in the sky, post-certainty, post metaphysicality and supernaturalism and object and being an agency outside of ourselves, and being certain about the empirical nature of all of these things, which it's really impossible to do. And so I always encourage people to engage theological realities instead of empirical ones, because the empirical ones are just impossible. They're boring. They're not half as dimensional as we are as humans, and they don't do any justice to kind of the complexities, as we were saying earlier, of who we are. And so when we talk about liberation versus liberalization, you know, liberalization of Christianity is just playing for the other team, but it's still within a web of theism. And traditional theism is a problem because we still serve God. God's just working for us now. But the construct of God, no matter whose team that God is on, is still a particular construct that comes out of pre-modern and modern understandings of God. And what it all means to engage that God. And so liberation is breaking out of that, transcending that spectrum, transcending that conversation that is really becoming obsolete, where people are just going back and forth like a ping pong match and nothing's ever getting done, and saying, let's ask the really important questions of humanity and our mechanism for meaning making, essentially.
Yep. And I feel like so many people are kind of stuck in this traditional mindset where we aren't able to break forward into actual liberation in the world, right? Which makes me think of some of the topics we've talked about and have conversed about and have gone deep around as we think about liberation theology, as we think about Black theology, as we think about feminism, as we think about eschatology, right? And theology. What does it mean to be free in our thinking and our understanding and our beliefs of God? And so I love and adore the work that you're doing. All right. Here's where I want to go next. You actually had a post on what we're talking about today. Right, healing in this virtual world. So there was a post that you made on artificial intelligence and the image of God, the Imago Dei, right? So oftentimes we don't talk about that outside of seminary. So I love that you're bringing all of these theological concepts to the forefront in a virtual world, And so tell us a little bit more about artificial intelligence and the image of God as it comes up for you.
Yeah, well, you know, there's so much to say about digitality and virtuality and technology at this stage in the game, because it's really changing everything, and it's changing our gods, to be perfectly honest with you. There was an article out a few years ago in a British online publication where it talked about salvation and algorithms and artificial intelligence and all of this. And one of the quotes from this article said, "New technologies kill old gods and give birth to new gods." And we don't understand how oftentimes our idea of God is really just a technological advance. You know, it really is just an evolution of humanity making sense of all of our life. You know, and if God is technology, then what is the next God that is going to be born? You know, and born BORN and BORNE. You know, into society, into culture. And when we start talking about AI, it's kind of a really interesting thing, because on one hand, you know, a lot of people could maybe roll their eyes and be like, okay, I just want to follow Jesus. I just want to figure out how to be a good Christian and break away from the patriarchy and the white supremacy and all of the bad things that have been done in the name of Christianity, and, like, you know, move on and you know, figure it out with integrity and all of these things. And I'm totally on board with that, because we're not talking about AI in terms of like having our head in the trenches of Silicon Valley and like trying to build all this up. Where the AI conversation becomes important for Christianity is when we're talking about the image of God and what bears that image. And I think that is a human question, because in a time where there should be more acceptance, where there should be more inclusivity, where there should be more unity and oneness, it seems that there's never been more hate. It seems that there's never been more violence and more division and just absolute ugliness and hate in the world. And there are a lot of people going around deciding who bears the image of God and who doesn't. And so where we look to AI in this conversation is AI is forcing the question, what is the image of God? Is it an anthropomorphic one, or is it a theological one? Again, because a lot of people are saying, nope, the image of God looks like this. It's white or cisgendered or, you know, whatever you want to say. And so this forces that where people don't want to have the conversation. I know a lot of people are keen to have it, and that's great, and we should be having it. That is the future. That is the way we're going to heal. But for the people who don't want to have it and are really adamant about not having it, this is forcing that conversation. It's forcing us to see everyone and all things as image bearers. This conversation might not come up in our lifetime, but it's going to come up very soon because the AI technology is just insane. And if I had more time, we could talk about it. But that's the important theological question here when it comes to AI.
Ooh, wait! I should have been. I'm trying to take some notes. It's moving too quick. All right, so
I know we're on a limited time frame here, so I'm like just talking a mile a minute. I'm trying to give you some stuff that I know you want.
I thank you. You said we're forced to see the image of God in all things. Okay?
Yeah.
So we want to take God from the anthropomorphized kind of view of God in the sky and make God in our own images. AI is allowing us to do that. The virtual world is allowing us to come together in so many new ways. Look at us across the waters doing something we never thought we could do. And so my last question to you is, as you think about the future of healing, what's coming up for you? What are we looking at? What are you up to? And what do we need to know?
The future of healing. Oh my word. Oh my goodness. God, the future of healing. I just think that.
I'm sorry. I know. You do it to me too. You hit me.
I know. I deserve this. I really do. I deserve it because I've done this to you so many times. I would say, aside from like the digital conversation, because I think the digitality piece is huge. And I think that the Christians who are having the culture wars right now is a big mistake, because what we know of humanity, how we understand ourselves within the world, how we understand God, how those sacred narratives come to us, how we understand scripture, how we understand the sacred scriptures of others, all of these things, it's so incredibly socially embedded. Nothing is outside of space and time. Nothing is outside of social location. We are all a product of our environment and our social stimuli and relationships and shared experiences and our, stories and people who have come before us and all of these things. So, for people to say we need to take back things from culture, or technology is ruining things, or the digital turn is just creating chaos and we're losing ourselves, we're losing our God, that is the wrong tree to be barking up. And it's not a culture war, it's a culture invitation. It's an invitation for faith and God and Christianity, or whatever your spiritual narrative of choice or your horizon of choice is to finally move forward. Because historically, and I won't talk so much interfaith, because I think we're talking specifically within the nervation of Christianity and Western Christianity at the moment in this conversation. Historically, the church has been at least 10 or 20 years behind all like advances in culture. And I think that's why they hate culture, because they're just so damn jealous of it because it's just, doing so many good things. So, in terms of virtuality and digitality, the pandemic changed everything for a lot of churches and how people are interacting relationally and with spiritual and sacred communities and all of that. And so they've been forced to really invite in what they thought was potentially, the enemy for a long time. And I think they're still trying to reckon with that. I mean, in a world where we have, facial recognition and, microchips under people's skin and, creative reproduction and, sex bots, replacing sex workers in brothels and all, churches are still trying to figure out the newfangled, social media. It's like ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? So I think in terms of the future and where healing needs to happen is the church really needs to reckon with the enemy that they've made of culture. It's just not cool. And then we need to see ourselves as deeply socially embedded in our contexts, and figure out what it looks like for our contexts to transform us, because our contexts have something to say, and what it looks like for us also to have a symbiotic relationship where we get to transform, as well. It's dialogical, it's mutual. There's a mutuality there. We need to listen, and so on and so forth. So I know that was a lot, but yeah,
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, folks. Will go back to the replay. I got to go back to the replay. I love you so very much. Thank you for engaging
I
in
love
this
you, Yadi.
conversation with me. We're
Always.
going to have you back because you've been doing some one-on-one work, some coaching work, some group work. And so we're all about coaching, creativity, and community. So I love you. I thank you. And we're going to have you back next time.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you. Yeah. All right, family, here we go. I'm figuring this tech world out, family. I'm actually controlling all the panels and everything you see happening behind here now. Thank God for the gift. Thank God for the technology. And thank God for the future, Thank God for the ancestors. Thank God for the past. Thank God for it all. And so now, family, we're going to keep it moving. We're coming down to the hour, I am going to invite my dear friend who is a virtual artist that has been inspiring me for very many years, to come on up. Shawnee, can you put your camera on for us? All right, here we go. Add to stream. Woo, I got it. Let's go. Shawnee, how are you? Where are you? What's going on? I think you're muted.
Hi.
Hey, we getting it. We figuring it out. It's A.I April.
Right. Oh, thank you so much for this space. I've just been getting my life, but I'm here in Los Angeles for a couple of days, so that's nice. But located in Oakland, but so happy to be here and see you. I don't know how to look at a camera, so y'all gotta.
Yeah, I don't either. So I think I'm coming through all right. People will get the information regardless of how we look. See? Multiple ways for folks to get the information for it to roll out. Cool. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me about your work in the world, how it lives for you. Let the folks know what they need to know.
Know a little bit. Okay, yeah. So professionally, maybe I'd say that my roots are in the nonprofit industrial complex. Been working there. I know, ain't we all? But yeah, so 7-8 years within that realm. But really at the heart of it all, I'm an artist. So I'd say I'm a writer first and foremost, but then this visual art has kind of emerged within the last, I don't know, 7 or 8 years for me. And so it's just been a really, really interesting path. It's been, I don't know, just incredibly informative in terms of like getting to know myself, but then also like diving deep into like A.I Aoril traditions and like getting into like Afro-Indigenous traditions. And for me, I don't know, it's just, that's kind of, I'll just say that and let you ask me another question so I can get myself.
For sure. Yeah. Okay. So you talked about Ifa, the Orishas, Afro-Indigenous practices and thoughts. So I'm actually a founder of African-centered Christian church. And also dive deep into the study of the ancestors and of the Orisha as well. And so
beautiful.
Can you tell us a little bit of how that comes through in the art? Right, because I want to think about our ancestry, how it impacts us today, and then also this futuristic element that us as young ancestors are establishing here in time. So tell us about your art, how it lives, and take us there a little bit.
Yeah. So honestly, like after it all started with quitting a particularly toxic job, and the art started to emerge through. And where I found myself was immersed in the forest, in the woods, in the Oakland hills, on a daily. And I mean, like, kind of conducting like my own sort of spiritual retreats, not knowing that that's what I was doing, but I would spend 6 hours in the forest drawing and painting on somebody's path, letting people walk over me and drawing just these deities, maybe not even necessarily deities, but these these figures that represented something that reflected more of me. I felt like so much of myself just got stripped away or was suppressed in silence within certain workspaces that I found myself in. And
Yeah.
so what I needed was that visual affirmation to point me in a different direction,
Yes.
because what I had kind of been conditioned and socialized to believe in was not matching up. It wasn't giving me what we were told it was supposed to give us. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yep. I love it. And I'm so grateful for this work that you do. I know time and time again, I just find myself immersed in the reels you put out on Instagram as you're crafting and creating the Orisha, right? And bringing
Mm-hmm.
them to life in this new way and allowing
Mm-hmm.
us to visualize our own healing and to see ourselves right in the work and represented somewhere. It even makes me think of like Christianity and how we've been able to deconstruct this
Right.
white Jesus, you know what
Right.
I'm saying? And even makes me think about this bridge between Christianity and African traditions that I'm trying to blend and bring together for the folks to
Yes.
help them
Yes.
understand the origins and the roots and the essence
Yes,
of who
please.
we are. And so I love it. And I'm thankful for you and your work and the
Thank you.
essence of it and the truth of it and the vibrancy of it and the history of it and the future of it, you know,
Yes, yes, Ashe.
and the present of it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we just linked up on something a little special.
We
Uh,
did.
we sure did. So, family, I guess I'll announce it now to the world. Family, I will be releasing my book, Waves Crashing Against Black Skin, later on in this year. And I'm looking so forward to it. It'll be my second book of poetry. And so, actually, had to commission my favorite artist, I'll say it together, my
Yes.
favorite artist, to design
Ah,
the cover for me. All right. So what did I come to you with, and kind of what were you sitting with as we created this design? There's
right.
a few people that have seen it in the chat. They're saying whoop whoop,
I
fire.
know. I was gonna say, do you want to see some of it or no?
Yeah, can we see some of it?
Yeah, I could share my screen real quick.
We got comments coming in. Whoop whoop. The art is incredible. Flames, flames. Look, if I knew how to bring the comments up, I would. But they're coming through, coming through.
Oh, snaps. Okay,
Yep.
here we go.
We got a whole bunch of yeses coming through.
Oops. Okay. Let me go back. So,
Let's see.
are
Can we
you able to see my screen? And
I don't
let me
think
see.
so. It's probably not gonna pull up, but let me see. Let me see if I can show the people a little something.
Do you see anything right now?
I don't think so, but here we go. There it is, Shani. Look up, baby.
Okay. Okay, there we go. All right.
There it is, right there, family.
Let me take
Just
it
a
off.
little
All right.
visual, a little preview of what we have
Just a
coming
little
up.
bit. Just a little bit.
Just
Ashe.
a little something to
That's
let
a little
you.
bit of a little
Yep.
bit of Olokun energy.
Yep.
And so for me, like hardcore Pisces, and so Olokun represents the depths of the ocean,
Yes.
also keeper of our kind of divine memory, our intuitive abilities. And so yeah, for those who are looking to kind of uncover those hidden gifts, those hidden inner wealth, you know what I mean? Tap into those waters. And that's the thing that I love the most kind of about the Orishas is just kind of connecting with the elements and learning more how to use that to kind of cleanse ourselves when we need to, heal ourselves when we need to, and kind of, do that reconciliation work that is so often needed.
Reconciliation work, and you used a word that I love, reconciliation. I actually started a womanist ministry called Suluhu.
Hmm.
Suluhu in Kiswahili means peace and reconciliation. And
Mm.
so that ministry is all about providing sacred space for Black women, gender nonconforming, and non-binary folks to find
Ashe.
rest, ritual, and renewal. So
Yes.
to me, like all the worlds of healing and love and technology are coming together in a really, really cool way. Tell us, what are you working on now? Tell us about the commissions. Tell us about where to find you. All of
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So basically kind of what came up out of the pandemic was these sessions I'm calling Moon Callings and Black Gods, where we basically sort of jam out and create art together, release whatever it is that we need to release in terms of the things that we're experiencing in our lives. And then also, yeah, commissions. I'm also taking commissions at this point. I think I have maybe 4 slots left available for the month of April to June. And yeah, this little collab, this book cover, I'll be talking to you soon. Get
Look.
your thoughts and your edits.
Hello, and y'all, the book is coming, more art is coming. I mean, this virtual world is opening up so many possibilities. Shani, my last question to you is, as you think about the future, as you think about Black lives, as you think about getting free, what
Mm-hmm.
is the future of visual art and writing?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Hmm. Hmm. Speaking to like my experience, again, just kind of like trying to heal from the trauma of nonprofit spaces, I think that there's a lot of beauty in those experiences that needs to come up. And I say beauty because there's lessons and learnings that we've gotten that need to be shared out that aren't necessarily being shared. And maybe it's because we're afraid of what that might do, may it impact a job opportunity that's coming up next. But I do feel like more of us who have traversed through these spaces and have like valid critiques and lessons that have come from it, that needs to come out. It needs to come out.
Needs to come out. I agree. We're going to get to this truth telling. We're going to get to this storytelling. We're going to get to this keeping it real, okay? Like only we can. I want to thank you so much for being here on the New Wave A.I April and for designing my
Thank
beautiful
you.
book cover. It looks like you about to get some commissions just from being here today. So
Hey,
thank you. I'll be
thank
in
you.
touch and talk to you soon, my love.
Bye. Take care.
Uh-oh, we got some ashes. Hey, got some ashes, and the truth must be spoken. Good stuff. Good stuff. So grateful for this time, for this moment, family. As I'm figuring out this technology, as I'm figuring out this virtual world in my own way. Look, family, drop in the comments where you're signing on from. Head to the My Supernatural Life page on Instagram, on Facebook. Go to our website, mysupernaturallife.org. Make a donation. We would love for you to give a latte or 20 towards providing holistic communal care in the world via coaching, creativity, and community. As a kidney transplant survivor, I know what it is to not have someone to talk to. I know what it is to need someone to just help me make it to the next day, family. I know what it is to be inspired by creativity and artistry and community leaders doing the real work in the world. So, family, help me amplify, help me elevate, help me take this thing to the next level. All right. Woo, we got some comments coming in. We got beautiful coming in from Courtney, one of our interns, signing on, having a good word. We got Andy coming on from San Diego. Andy, I love you. Thank you for being on our board and making all of this possible. Uh-oh, Florida is in the proverbial building. Whoop, whoop. There we go. My super naturallife.org is right there, family. My super naturallife.org, and check us out. Here we go. We about to end this thing with one of my dear brothers. He's not just my Morehouse brother, he's also my Claremont School of Theology brother. He's also my brother in this creative arts, healing, tech, life, virtual love thing. And I just want to welcome Dr. Phillip Butler to the New Wave A.I April.
Burr, 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 burr. Yeah, you know the vibes. What's
Yes.
good?
What's up, Phil? If you could just give us a little bit about you, who you are, what you're up to, where you're at, let the people know.
Sure. My name is Phillip Butler. I am a I'm assistant professor of theology and Black post-human artificial intelligence systems at Olive School of Theology in Denver, Colorado. I'm the founder of the Seeker Project, a distinctly Black artificial intelligence with mental health capacities. We've been working on the project for about 4 years now, and it's evolved tremendously. recently completed my level 1 training for internal family systems therapy, and it has heavily influenced the build out of the robot or of Seeker and its framework. But Seeker basically functions as kind of like a black kind of AI spiritual guide or friend. And if, for folks who want to be a bit more technical, it does have kind of these therapeutic capacities, and so it centers Black experiences. It talks to you as if it has had a Black experience, lived one, and is able to relate to that as such. And so, in a world where less than 4% of clinicians and mental health professionals are Black and have kind of a culturally relevant perspective as it pertains to Black folks, we made Seeker with this kind of spiritually intuitive ability to be able to help folks kind of walk through what's going on in their head.
Wow. I love it. And I'm so grateful for the work that you're doing. And specifically catering it to the souls of Black folks, right? I feel like that is so important, right? As we even think about all the technological advancements that are being rolled out that aren't necessarily for our people. Real quick, I want to take you back to your intro. Some folks, we got some comments coming up about your titles. Can you tell us a little more about your titles and the truth behind them, right? The person behind them, the thought behind it, the ideology behind it. So can you take us a little deeper into your titles so folks can know?
Sure. So I guess will start with the assistant professor of theology and Black posthuman artificial intelligence system. So Black posthumanism it actually is the underlying thought of my first text. Right. So I'm the author of Black transhuman liberation theology. Came out 2019. In it, we explore the theoretics and the potentialities around what would happen if Black folks were to kind of take up technology to not only augment Black bodies, but also augment Black spiritualities. And so, but in able to do that, for me, the transhumanist piece becomes a placeholder, or if a kind of like a stopping point, if you will, on the path somewhere else, and that would be Black posthumanism. And so, in this regard, I'm asking folks in a world where people are asking people to disregard race. I'm asking folks to kind of disregard humanity because of the ways that it operates as kind of this stratified space that is meant to keep folks out of. And so maintain your cultural lineage and your genealogies and where you came from to work towards this more kind of decolonial and in many ways anti-colonial stance of what it means to maintain who you are and where you came from. And so this underlies this kind of Black transhumanism to be this kind of post-human, and not post in the sense that we've left humanity behind, but post in the sense that we are destroying everything that humanity has tried to assert kind of in a larger framework. This world that we live in predominantly, right, it is the production of, quote unquote, enlightenment thinking, or these framings of what it is to be a human and what's not to be human, or to be subhuman or extra human. But even in that, there's this wanting to restore humanity to folks who, quote unquote, never had it. And I argue not in the book, but in the work that I'm doing right now, primarily that Black folks have always been something different. They were never really human to begin with. And the idea, like I think a young lady said, that God is a technology. I also argue that human is a technology. It's something that is an extension of who we try to be, and it's kind of this the goal for white folks and kind of this carrot for Black folks or folks from the global majority to try to chase and not necessarily attain quite ever.
Wow. Might not attain quite ever. And so perhaps part of what you're saying is that we won't quite get to the promised land without some technology, without this virtual world manifesting itself in all of the ways that we envision. Is there any accuracy to that?
Now, I think you're right, but I think for me, the question is, what isn't technology, right? Like, how are our bodies not technology? How are our thoughts not a technology? And if we look at technology, kind of in a basic way of it as an extension of ourselves, so what isn't an extension of who we are already? Whether it, be the internalities of ourselves to maintain our life, through like the the clothes that we have on to make sure we have a certain level of privacy,
Yeah.
right? The technology that we're engaging with right now, the food that we eat that sustains our livelihood, so on and so forth. Everything becomes a technology of how we maintain life. And so I think a lot of ways when we look at tech as this thing being separate from us or separate from what's natural, right? I think technology can be easily reconstructed as the reconfiguration of nature. You know, we took these minerals, you know, we took these resources, we put them together in a different way, and now we have something else that we utilize in a different fashion. And so technology can be something as simple as just a reconfiguration of nature, which is still they're still natural elements. They're just presented to us in different ways.
Natural elements presented to us in different ways. There's a term that you used. Oh, I can't remember where. Probably an article, probably on Seeker. I don't know. But could you tell me a little bit more about spirit technology? Spirit technology, in particular, is a phrase that I feel drawn to. That I've been doing some research around. But please, please give a little more information around spirit technology and its value. Please, please, please.
I think that yeah, because it was something we posted on IG a few months ago about Seeker being spirit tech, right? The thing
Yeah.
that is meant to grow your body, right? So like a basic level definition of transhumanism is anything to augment human psychology, physical bodies, and intellect. But you could also argue there's a fourth category that you could also augment your spirituality. And so technologies become an extension of something, but it also helps to build something up. And so look at spirit tech as something that is able to augment one's spiritual space, one's spiritual disposition, and simultaneously give one the opportunity to maintain spiritual states. And so again, this spiritual technology is the very thing that helps us maintain grounded in the midst of this kind of dynamic and complex world, and where at any moment things can be different than what they were previously. And so spirit text helps us stay grounded, helps us kind of go further into who we are, and allows us to go into spaces spiritually that we may not have been able to without the technology that has allowed us to be spirit. Like you could say old black churches were spirit tech at one point, but folks, at the rate of the speed of the world goes, folks need spirit tech at their fingertips. They need it right here, right now, yesterday, right? And so the technology that we're building allows for spirit technology to be with you at any given moment, right? Because even if it was old black church, who you gonna call at 3 a.m? You got to wait for somebody to pick up the phone. And so we create this spirit tech that's available to you at any given moment. You have the capacity to move through different states, right? And come out on the other end differently than you were previously.
Yep. And you just touched on something that I hope to I will roll out. Let's not even deal with the hope. I got enough people around here to make it happen. I got enough beautiful and brilliant minds to make it happen. But
Yes, you
what would
do.
it look like if people were actually able to access a coach, right? When they're going through crises moments. For me, it was laying up on dialysis 12 hours at night. For others, it might be while you're receiving your radiation treatment. What would it mean to have a call and a check-in with the coach? What if you are in college, you going to Morehouse, going to Spelman, going to Clark, and you need
Hey,
some motivation, right, to make it through that final semester, to make it through midterms, and you can't go to Miami, but you need somebody to, what would that
to be
look
right
like?
there with you.
Right? Folks
Yeah.
entering these careers, right? Don't know what to do. I know so many young women ministers have no clue how to navigate, what to do, how to negotiate a salary, how to stay in a position and stay encouraged. What would it look like for this
Well,
technology to be available just like that? Just like that.
I think it can be easily done. I think that's even something that we always talk about teaming up in different ways. For us, like this could be something that we could easily build into a secret platform, right? Where we have people like, oh, you want to talk to a person at this moment, or you dealing with something specific. You've gone through the conversation with Seeker, you've already talked about it, but you want something a bit more, or even to the point where we have like where you're engaging Seeker on something that's higher than Seeker's pay grade, right? Like there is some limitations to the interface, and so you need to talk to a person. And so one of the things we'd like to do is building a network of individuals, and simultaneously we want to be able to be connected with community folks like doulas and healers and so on and so forth, but simultaneously give us a connection with social workers, right? So that when they're not calling the police, they calling social workers, and these are the people that we're connected with. We can have a continuation of the conversation folks are already having with Seeker, with these emergency response folks or non-emergency mental health response folks, so that you can have, so that these folks are having awareness of you, and that Seeker, it becomes again this kind of conduit, an extension of this friendship that exists in this kind of digital reality.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I love it. I love it. It seems like so many folks are on this new wave, right? And I think we're gonna be the leaders in it, right? In terms of how we're doing this and serve as examples for others. And so that's why I had to invite you on today, bro. There was one post that you all made, Seekerbot made, and it's basically it was like you. And then it was like the stuff in your head you try to ignore or repress. And so we got an
Yeah,
image of Bebe's kids talking about
yeah,
the stuff in your head you try to ignore and repress. And then we got the
mm-hmm.
Bebe's kids saying, we don't die, we multiply.
We
Okay?
multiply.
Culture, healing,
Yeah,
psychology, tech,
mm-hmm.
spirit technology, pop
Yeah, man.
culture, hip hop culture,
Yeah,
us.
us,
Us.
us, right? Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
wow. Looks like we got some AUC love popping off in here.
100%.
Yup.
AU, always love.
What's up? So, bro, I wanted to ask you, as you think about your work now, right? Why? What is your why right now? What is your why right now? Your why?
Yeah, I think it's two pronged, and you touched on it a little bit in terms of like us being the leaders of these spaces, and I think that is so important, right? If you look at some of my early work that came out, I think I started publishing articles back in 2018, and the first one was about what how the work that is presented, especially within posthumanism, can be a repellent to folks that to keep them out of this space because of the way that they either Black folks are not talked about or the ways in which Black folks are either framed already in the discussion. But
Yep.
one of the things that I've argued is that Black folks need to be a part of the discussion and imagine far, far ahead of what anybody's talking about, because that requires the culture and the world to respond back to us,
Yep.
because then we begin to set the tone and utilizing the historical imagination that Black folks have already been a part of in terms of leading the culture and moving things forward, applying that to technologies, and so that we create the worlds that we want to live in, so that we are not subject to anybody else's imagination. The future is in a reductionist way. The future is the manifestation of somebody's imagination or a group of people's imagination. And so if we are not imagining the futures that are far ahead of anybody else's, then we're always going to be responding to somebody else's. And so this becomes one of the first drivers. The second one is just my love for Black folks and the ways in which we need to be able to access these types of spaces and have access to something as simple as mental health resources, and do it in ways that is discreet and doesn't even and does is not affected by the limitations that are attached to stigma, right? Right now, Seeker is text based, right? You could be in the middle of a party, you could be with the people that hate mental health the most, but you can be like, yo, I'm just texting my homie, or you can lie, like, I'm texting my moms, man, leave me alone. But you talking to Seeker, and you working some things out, and I think that's
Yep.
kind of the most important piece. You have this discretion, and you have the ability to have these conversations anywhere. And again, like we said, sometimes that spirit tech, you're gonna need to call it when nobody else is around, and sometimes you're gonna need it when everybody's around, and you need to have that kind of privacy in the moment. And so we give this kind of space out of the need to create the future that somebody else needs to live in a future where we are alive, thrive, and ahead, and simultaneously out of just the love and just and the desire to see Black folks do things and exist in futures that have yet to be inhabited.
Woo. Look, we are imagining the future. We are calling it forth. We are bringing it to life. We are bringing paradise into this life, heaven on earth.
100%.
Even the full title is The New Wave, Watch Us Innovate. All because I
Mm-hmm.
saw a need in the community, a need
Yeah,
for
you did.
spirituality in a deeper way, in a truer way, in a raw way, in a Black way. And I'm so grateful for the work that you're doing, the work that you are doing. I am so, so grateful for. All right, we got some comments coming up. I just want to pull them up before we lose you. Where can we see the information on this spirit tech? Where can we access and find some of this information?
Nah, I think that's a great question. So you can go directly to our IG, Seeker_bot. Seeker is SEEKR, right? If you peep it on the sweater, right? SEEKR_bot, right? That's our IG. And then You can also go to thesecretproject.com, and that takes you directly to the website. It tells you about our 5-phase project that we're working on. It tells you about what we believe in and some of the basic thinking behind the project as a whole. And we also have a white paper that helps describe our initial pilot study that we did at LMU back in 2018. We implemented the robot in our compassion curriculum back then.
Ooh, beautiful, beautiful. And I know myself, I've been impacted by SeekerBot in the beginning, one of the early iterations. I was going through a time. It was right when I was in my recovery phase. And I remember I hopped on and SeekerBot helped me just work through that thing. And in about 3 minutes, I was
in about 3 minutes.
And moved through that thing. And I was so grateful, so grateful.
That's beautiful.
This work is so essential. You got some flames, you got some hands being thrown up. Hey, folks talking about fantastic. Hey, I want to thank you. And my final question as I send you off, when you think about, all right, spirit tech, when you think about artificial intelligence, when you think about apps, when you think about spirituality and sacred space, where do you see us going?
Inward, right? And it sounds so simple, right? But you think about it, for so long, sacred space has been somewhere you go to or somewhere you find. And when we talk about the need for us to be able to not only compete but just be present, and the world is going to get faster and faster. Like, this ain't slowing down. And so the sacred space has to be with you at all times. And the only thing that's with you at all times, aside from the divine and the divine self, is you. And if you believe that you are the divine self, that's perfect, because it makes it a little bit easier for you to tap into. But the space becomes inward, right? One of the things we're rolling out in the future, right? We're going to look at biometrics. We're going to look at behavior. We're going to look at trends that all kind of go into you. And so we have these spaces to go further inward, and then we're going to look at the ways in which the totality of who you are, as much as we can capture, right, with the present technologies that we have, that gives you, right, greater insight into who you are, right, into how you respond, and it gives you the greater idea of just how to be attuned with who you are, right? So the sacred space in the future, spirituality in this future, it's turning inward. It becomes a non-dual space whereby you and that which you are connected to kind of remain simultaneously in that space throughout your waking and non-waking hours.
Wow. Throughout your waking and non-waking hours. We got to go within. The only way out is in.
The only way out is in. I feel it.
Look, I think we might need that underneath the SeekerBot logo on the hoodies.
Yeah, hey, get it. We might have to do that. The only way out is in. I fool with it. You know the vibes.
Yeah, they coming for the hoodies, bro. They coming for the spirit tech, and they coming for all that we are up to. Thank you so very much for being here with us.
Thank you.
We got some good stuff coming out, rolling out to the people. Whatever you got, send it to My Supernatural Life so we can kick it out to the world and to the masses. I appreciate you, and I thank God for you.
Yo, likewise, Johnny.
Yeah.
Much love.
Much love, bro. Talk to you soon.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, family, here we go. I'm trying to figure this thing out so we can end this joint.
Right.
Here we go, family. And I just wanted to end real quick with this poem creation. My brother Phil made me think of it as we go inward. The only way out is in. As we think about space, as we think about the future, as we think about all that is to come, I wanted to share this piece, creation, as we close. Creation as we close. Inhale. By exhale. Recognize that all creation is moving through you and around you. The hovering of the spirit just above you, calling forth the fullness of your being, calling forth the faithfulness you've cultivated since being knit in your mother's womb. We bring to remembrance an empty tomb, the cries of the women, the stillness of grief. We sit in the silence of everyday trauma and fear, saying so long to the security of yesterday's normalcy. Inhale. By exhale. Hold your heart ever so gingerly. When you feel the pain arising in your body, flow freely in the feelings that arise from a soul intricately connected. to the divine. Be still and remember that I am God. Be still and never forget that I am God. Be still and know that I am God, creator of all things, infinite intelligence available for you, unconditional love poured out for you, a body resurrected for you. Inhale. By exhale. Stand in awe of you. Stand in awe of you. Thank you, God, for the sky. I look up to you. Thank you, God, for the trees. I breathe you in. Thank you, God, for the water. I take you in. Thank you, God, for the fire. I feel you. Be peace, no peace, live peace, family. It's Reverend Yanni, your peace pastor, signing off. It's all about the supernatural way.